From now on, I will start presenting my thesis. The title of this paper is A Latent Profile Analysis of University Course Evaluation, and this presentation is conducted in the order of introduction, theoretical background, research method, research result, and conclusion. First, introduction. The system for evaluating professors' lectures at universities was first implemented at Bologna University, Italy. And then, lecture evaluation similar to the present method was first implemented at American universities in the 1910s. In Korea, the necessity of lecture evaluation was raised in terms of improving the quality of higher education, and it was publicly discussed from 1982 and from 1989. The lecture evaluation system of professors at the level of student movement was discussed. Starting from the University Comprehensive Evaluation and Recognition System, which was implemented in 1994. The trend of strengthening the university evaluation by government triggered the introduction of the teaching achievement evaluation of each university. Subsequently, the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology conducted the Financial Support Project for Outstanding Colleges for Promotion of Education Reform in 1996, and various university evaluations such as University Structural Reform Evaluation, Teacher Training Institution Evaluation, and Financial Support Projects. The disclosure of lecture evaluation results and utilization plans became important university evaluation indicators. As it is utilized, the lecture evaluation has been established through continuous improvement as a basic tool for equality management of university education. Lecture evaluation with secured validity is a major indicator of the effectiveness of lectures. And in order to improve the quality of university education, various efforts to prepare improvement plans through periodic lecture evaluations and support students' academic commitment are required. It becomes, however, despite this necessary, the use of the result of lecture evaluation to improve the quality of education in universities has been extremely limited. In general, the result of lecture evaluation in universities are used as criteria for evaluating the achievements of professors or for selecting excellent professors in the school. If the lecture evaluation results are bad, lecturers or full-time professors are sometimes excluded from the assignment of lectures for the next semester. It is more disadvantageous and worse for the professor. Full-time professors remains at the level of being invited to participate in the Teaching and Learning Support Center's teaching method program. So the use of evaluation results can be said to be the primary and superficial application. For this reason, it has been pointed out that the result of lectures evaluation are somewhere distance from the fundamental force of improving the quality of the university education. Therefore, there is the need to actively utilize the result of the lecture evaluation conducted every semester to prepare a plan to improve the quality of university education by analyzing various aspects. In this study, in order to accommodate the demands for learner-centered university education and to improve the quality of university class plan, content delivery, interaction, feedback, and evaluation system are set as observation variables as sub-factors of lecture evaluation. The lecture evaluation results. The latent profile were classified according to and analyzed by introducing student characteristic, grade, major, faculty characteristic, position, and lecture characteristics, completion, category, and lecture size as factors influencing this. Furthermore, it was attempted to investigate whether there was a difference in the level of academic commitment by potential profile and to find a way to utilize the lecture evaluation. Therefore, this study attempts a multilateral analysis to examine two aspects of lecture evaluation conducted at the end of each semester through classification of types, establishes the direction of development of teaching learning programs that improve the quality of university education and seeks ways to supporting learning. It is aimed at exhausting previous studies mainly focused on item development and evaluation method, validity of evaluation item, and weight application method, factor affecting the evaluation result, and so on. In this study, potential groups are classified according to the result of lecture evaluation and characteristics of each potential group and analyze the level of academic commitment according to the potential group. Specific research problems to be examined in order to achieve the purpose of this study are as follows. Specific research problems to be examined in order to achieve the purpose of this study are as follows. Research question 1 is how many potential profiles are classified according to the result of lecture evaluation for the second semester of 2020 at University A. And what are the characteristics of each potential group? Second, what are the effects of student characteristics, grades, and major, professor characteristics, position, and lecturer characteristics, completion category, and lecture size that determine the potential profile according to the result of lecture evaluation for the second semester of 2020 at University A. Third, what is the difference in the level of academic commitment by potential profiles classified according to the result of the 2020 and second semester lecture evaluation of University A. 2001 University lecture evaluation. The interest in improving the quality of university education has increased due to the recognition that reflection on the quality of university education, competition between universities, and the cultivation of excellent talents are directly related to national competitiveness. For this reason, universities are conducting lecture evaluation as part of effort to improve education. Lecture evaluation is mostly conducted in a way that students evaluate the level of satisfaction with the professor's lectures at the end of the semester. And the scope of evaluation includes the lecture plan, lecture contents, communication, feedbacks, and evaluation systems such as assignments and evaluators. In other words, lecture evaluation can be defined as an act of judging the effect college class through the set standard for the entire process of teaching learning activities from the perspective of a student who is a customer. Professors are required to have research and educational competencies at the university, and lecture evaluation can be said to be the main measure for evaluating educational competencies among them. Some preceding studies raised questions about the quality of evaluation of students who are the evaluators of lecture evaluation. But as a result, lecture evaluation by students can be said to the most objective and economical means of evaluating the quality of university lectures. The measuring tools for lecture evaluation organized according to the purpose and needs of each university and are used separately, but most are used as a means of effectively evaluating the entire course of the class, improving problems, or preparing alternatives to improve the quality of education. 2.2 Factors influencing university lecture evaluation. Variables influencing lecture evaluation are being discussed in a wide variety of dimensions, but looking at previous studies, it can be largely divided into student, faculty, and lecturers level. Therefore, this study will also explain the factors influencing lecture evaluation in three dimensions: student factor, teaching factor, and the lecture factor. First of all, the student grade and major field, which are the student factor, have a close influence on learning at the university. In the university, learning is far from the infusion and passive learning that was done in middle and high school. Grades and major are highly related to lecture evaluation. Variables such as grades are closely related to difficulty of learning contents. Existing literature that studies the effect of student age of a grade on lecture evaluation result is very small, but grades or ages in subjects requiring high difficulty are very small. The higher the number and the higher the level of the subject, the higher the lecture evaluation score. In addition, there are studies showing that there is no difference in the result of lecture evaluation for major and liberal art subject. Next, as for the characteristics of professor, factors related to professor include the professor's position, number of lectures, and age. These factors directly or indirectly affect lecture evaluation. Many studies have been conducted on how the various characteristics of professor affect lecture evaluation by students, and the position of professor has a strong influence in the lecture evaluation. In some studies, associate professors or full professors tend to receive higher lecture evaluation score than assistant professor. While some studies show that the younger professor's age and the lower rank, the higher the lecture evaluation score. In the end, position acts as a major factor influence lecture evaluation in that it is the instructor competency reflecting the professor's intellectual ability, class management ability, and communication skill. Lastly, lecture characteristics can be divided into lecture size, class of completion, opening hour, and language, and so on. On this, lecture size has a strong influence on lecture evaluation. Since it is difficult to individualize classes in large-scale lectures, the possibility of giving a sense of belonging or interest of students is low, and the result of lecture evaluation is also lowered. In the other words, it is highly likely that students with different competencies, experiences, and interests are mixed in large lectures. So it is difficult for a professor to operate a class that satisfies all students. A number of previous studies have also analyzed the effect of lecture size on lecture evaluation. The results of lecture evaluation were higher for advanced subjects than basic subjects and for elective subjects rather than mandatory subjects. This study categorizes the factors that affect the result of lecture evaluation through close examinations of previous studies into student characteristics, teaching characteristics, and lecture characteristics, and grades and measure as student characteristics. It was assumed as a professor's characteristics as a physician and as a lecturer characteristics as a class of completion and as a lecture size but variable and was put into the analysis. 2.3 University a lecture of evaluation application. As of the second semester of 2020, the number of undergraduate students at University A is 50,109 and 1,311 teachers. And the number of students for full-time faculty is 2005.6%. University A reflects the characteristic of the university that consists of a total of 6 areas for measuring instrument evaluation, including lecture plan, content delivery, interaction, feedback, evaluation system, and academic commitment. University A utilized the result of lecture evaluation two main dimensions. The first is the deliver the lecture evaluation score for each subject to the professor in charge of provide them as reference materials to prepare a plan to improve the quality of lectures. The second is used as an evaluation index for the evaluation of professor achievement. In the case of full-time faculty, it is reflected in the promotion and personal evaluation, and the results of lecture evaluation were applied to the evaluation criteria for reappointment for non-executive faculty member. Therefore, this study analyzed the potential profile according to the sub-factor of the lecture plan, content delivery, interaction, feedback, and evaluation system, which are the sub-factors of the 2022 semester lecture evaluation of University A. Classifies potential groups and evaluates lectures potential group. Influencing factors were analyzed, and the difference between potential group on student commitment, which is the ultimate goal of university lectures, was attempted. Through the result of analysis, it is intended to explore ways to return sustainable lecture evaluation to improve the quality of university education. Third, research method. 3.1 Research model. This study set the class plan, content delivery, interaction, feedback, and evaluation system of university lectures as observation variables to explore the potential profile according to the lecture evaluation. Furthermore, it was investigated whether there was any difference in the level of academic commitment of students for each potential profile. The research model is shown in figure 1 below. 3.2 Research target. The subject of this study is 12,919 students from first to fourth grades who were enrolled in a university in Seoul and took lectures in the second semester of 2020. The survey was conducted from December 10th to 17th, 2020, which is the period for leading grades after the end of the second semester, excluding unscrupulous response. 83,069 lectures evaluation data were finally used for analysis. The general characteristics of the study participants are presented in table 1 below. 3.3 Research tools. In this study, in order to evaluate the perception of lecture among university students, and the teaching evaluation management tool of Choi Yoon-ok was represented, referenced, and revised and supplemented to suit the lecture evaluation environment of a university. This tool consisted of total 6 items, but only 5 items were used, including the item for students' self-learning evaluation. The 5 questions in the instrumental management plan: effective content delivery, various interaction, professor, feedback, and evaluation system, and are measured on a 5-point Likert scale. The reliability test results for 5 items is Krumba alpha is 0.958. 3.4 Analysis procedure. First, LPA was conducted to confirm the type of lecture evaluation potential class using the N+8 program. The number of potential classes for student lecture evaluation for the last estimation lecture is an Information Sustainability Index AIC and BIC and SSA BIC, and so on. Statistical significance and entropy index were referenced. To verify the statistical significance, LRT and BLRT used. And the model that best explained the classification between groups was finally selected. Next, the SPSS 226 program was used. In order to analyze the difference of characteristics between potential class more closely, the difference for potential profile was analyzed through grade and major as student characteristics, rank as professor characteristics, and characteristic lecture characteristic and class size. First, research result. 4.1 Descriptive statistics. Prior to implementing the LPA according to class plan, delivery, interaction, feedback, and evaluation system consisting of sub-factors of 2020 second semester lectures evaluation. Correlations between related variables are investigated and descriptive statistical analysis was conducted. First, as a result of performing correlations analysis, each factor has a statistically significant positive relationship with other factors between 0.574 and 0.667. As a result of descriptive statistics analysis of variables used in this study, on average, the average for the lesson plan was the highest at 4.414, followed by condensed delivered 4.385, interaction 4.332, feedback 4.329, and evaluation system 4.305. The absolute value of skewness and kurtosis of each factors did not exceed 2 and 8, so it was judged that the preference difference values were satisfied. 4.2 Selection of latent profile numbers. In order to determine the number of latent profile according to the result of lecture evaluation for college students, a conditional model that first analyzes an unconditional model without inputting predictive variables and then includes in variables expected to affect the classification of latent classes as covariated a three-steps approach was used to analyze the data. In order to determine the number of potential layers, the change in the quality of information index, verification, and classification was examined while increasing the number of layers by 1. The analysis results are represented in Table 2. According to Figure 2, the number of tiers AIC, BIC, SABIC, all of which are information sustainability indices, decreased to 4 and then decreased gradually from 5. Entropy, which shows the quality of classification, is an index indicating the accuracy of classification based on the posterior probability resulting from the analysis of the latent profile and has a standardized value ranging from 0 to 1. The larger the entropy value is, the more sustainable a model can be, and the generous 0.8 or more can be considered as a good classification. As a result of the analysis, the entropy index gradually increased until the number of latent classes was 4, approached 1, and then decreased again from 5. LMR, LRT, and BLIT were statistically significant in all cases. When synthesizing information index, entropy, LMRT, BLRT, and interpretability, this study included that when the number of lectures evaluation potential profiles, the heterogeneity of each class is best explained. 4.3 Latent Profile Characteristics of Lecture Evaluation. According to the result of the lecture evaluation, the potential classes were classified into 4, and for each class, Profile 1 was named as a lower group, Profile 2 as a lower middle group, Profile 3 as the upper middle group, and Profile 4 as a upper group. The form of the latent profile extracted according to the sub-factors of lecture evaluation, such as lecture planning, delivery, interaction, feedback, and evaluation system, is shown in Figure 2, and the descriptive statistics are present in Table 3. 4.3 Latent Profile Characteristics of Lectures Evaluation. Examine the characteristics of each group in details. The subgroup of lecture evaluation showed low score in class plan, content delivery, interaction, feedback, and evaluation system. In particular, the average of content delivery was the lowest at 1. And the feedback was the highest at 1.13. The subgroup accounts for 58.6% of the total respondents. Anyway, lastly, the high-ranking group accounts for 3.5% of all respondents, and the lower level factor score of lecture evaluation is higher than that of the upper middle group. The sub-factor with the highest average of content delivery followed the evaluation system, interaction, feedback, and lesson plan with the highest average. 4.4 Verification of factor influencing lecture evaluation. Multi-nominal logistic regression analysis was performed to verify the influence on the classification of the latent profile by including independent variable in the final model from which the 4 latent profile were derived. This is method of setting each group as a reference group and comparing it with the rest of the group. First, the subgroup for lecture evaluation was set as the reference group, following by a lower middle group and the upper middle group in other. The result of verifying the factors influencing the lecture evaluation by setting the arts and sports field as a major field and the major lecture as a reference group for the completion category is shown in Table 4. First, when the subgroup of lecture evaluation was set as the reference group and comparison were conducted between group, student characteristics, teaching characteristics, and lecture characteristics were all statistically significant factors appeared. The lower the grade, the higher the probability of belonging to the upper middle group, and in the case of the major field, the humanity and social science, rather than the art of and sports and the upper middle group. Or upper middle group beta is 0.107 is highly likely to be included in the upper middle group. Beta is 0.169. The lower the rank of the professor, the highest the probability of being included in the upper group than the lower group, and the liberal arts lectures rather than the major lectures are the lower middle group than the lower level lecture evaluation group is better 0.417. The upper middle group beta is 0.471, and the upper class beta is 0.542 are likely to be included. And the semester, the lecture size is higher, the probability of being included in the upper class of lecture evaluation. And finally, the difference of the level of students commit to each potential profile was analyzed and presented in Table 5 below. For the analysis, the students' academic commitment was set as the final outcome variable of the latent profile derived from the sub-factors of lecture evaluation, such as a lesson plan and content delivery, interaction, feedback, and evaluation system. And the difference between the groups of each potential profile was verified. As a result of analysis, the academic commitment measured on a 5-point scale was highest in the order of high-ranking group is 4.83. The upper middle group is 4.01. The lower middle group is 3.44, and the lower level group is 3.29. Fifth, conclusion. The purpose of this study is to classify the sub-factor of university lecture evaluation through the latent profile analysis method, to identify the characteristics of each potential class and explore the influencing factors. To the end, 18,369 lectures evaluation were used by 12,919 students who attended lecture in the second semester of 2020 while attending a university. First, a latent profile analysis was conducted to classify the latent classes of sub-factors of the lecture evaluation. As a result of total, four heterogeneous potential classes were classified, and they were named as upper class, upper middle class, lower middle class, and lower class. Next, our multinomial logistic regression analysis was conducted by inputting the student's specific grade and major field, the class as a characteristic of the professor, and the class of completion and size of lecture as independent variables in order to verify the significant influencing factors for the classified potential class. The results are as follows. First, among the characteristics of students, the lower the grade. In addition, in the case of the humanity and social science or science and engineering field than the other of sports field, it is more likely to be included in the middle, lower, upper middle, and upper level groups rather than the lower level groups. These results are contrary to the result of previous studies that reported that the higher the grade and the higher the student's age and the higher the lecture evaluation score. This is because the lecture for the second semester of 2020 of full on non-face-to-face lectures conducted in the context of uh, coronavirus outbreak. In addition, as many previous studies have pointed out, it is necessary to consider the characteristics of major, that is, the academic field in the evaluation of lecture universities. Second, it was found that the lower the rank which is the characteristic of the professor, the higher the lecture evaluation. These results are contrary to previous studies, which argued that characteristics of a professor did not significantly affect lecture evaluation, or previous studies that found the higher the rank of professor, the higher the lecture evaluation. Third, the lecture size, which is a characteristic of the lecture, is closely related to the lecture evaluation result. And the larger the lecture size, lower lecture evaluation result. These results are consistent with the previous studies. In the large scale lecture, students experience difficulty in the communicating with the professor or receiving feedback. Finally, as a result of examining the degree of learning commitment by potential profile according to the characteristics of lecture evaluation, the four group reported the highest academic commitment in the order of upper group, the upper middle group, and the lower middle group, and the lower group. This means that sub-factor of factor evaluation such as lesson plan, delivery, instruction, feedback, and evaluation system are the main influencing factor that supporting college students to the practically immersive in their studies. This result of study is that in order to enable students to immerse themselves in their studies, such as major, liberal arts, and teaching professions, in the situation where teaching and learning is conducted. Instructor plan classes more systematically and communicated educational contents effectively and actively interact with each other through the various channels. The significance of this study based on the analysis result is as follows. First, this study is meaningful in that it examines how much the factors of each lecture attended by colleges students during one semester affect their learning commitment, while in-depth understanding of lecture evaluation as university is required. Second, in terms of methodology, individual difference in each subfactor of lecture evaluation, which determine the quality of university lectures, were reflected in the analysis classified. In addition, class plan, contents delivery, interaction, feedback, and evaluation system that determine the quality of university education are subfactors of lecture evaluation, examine influencing factors in various contexts, and analyzing the characteristics of lecture evaluation for each potential profile in relation to academic commitment. By doing so is thought in improve the quality of university education. Finally, the limitation of this study and suggestion for subsequent research are as follows. First, this study has a limitation in generaling the research result, in that the result of the lecture evaluation conducted at university A were used as the research scope. Therefore, there is a limit to examining the effect of efforts to improve the quality of education at the school level. In the follow-up study, if a longitudinal study is performed by analyzing the result of lecture evaluation conducted over several semesters. Thank you for your listening.